Superman and the League believed that Darkseid had finally been defeated, but in reality the Lord of Apocalypse had only gone to build his strength on another world. Now his Legion has come to claim the Man of Steel's heads, wearing faces from Superman's past. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Superman issue number 28 and find out what happens next together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as this brand new arc opens up, we're treated to a very fun series of panels depicting Superman during an average day of superheroing. Meanwhile, the dialogue boxes feature a group of unseen villains giving their own unsolicited commentary. And admittedly, the stuff they're saying is stuff you've probably heard 100 times before if you're a Superman fan. If he's so strong, why does he spend his time protecting the weak? Why does he have a secret identity? Is it just to lull people into a false sense of security? Surely this guy cannot be the axis on which an entire world spins, and why would our master ever fear him so? After that, we see Superman return to Kent Farm, and oh man, this panel really is something special for several reasons. One, we got a poster talking about the Tomorrow Expo, which is a great thread that is officially now run through all the major Superman books, as well as a band poster for the Mighty Crabjoy, Superman's favorite band from the new Superman movie. Which, hey, if you know your art, that is very clearly meant to be Toriyama Dragon Ball stuff. Man, what a cut. Now, why is Superman home right now? Well, it seems that he swung by to pick up his Legion flight ring. Again, something that Mark Waid and other writers have tried really hard recently to do, is re-establish Clark as Superboy's time training in the future, with the young heroes who made up the Legion. Now, of course, time is all sorts of messed up if you've been reading the main Justice League book, and Superman feels that now is the time to check in on his old friends, especially after he was attacked by a Legion foe Invalidus at Lana Lang and John Henry Irons' wedding. The only problem is Superman is scared of the future and what it might hold now. Time is in flux, and there's no telling what the Legion might have become, and indeed, Superman's fear is 100% founded, as before he can even make the jump to the future, he ends up getting accosted by a dark and twisted version of Saturn Girl. Superman calls her out by name, but it's made abundantly clear that Imra Ardeen doesn't even recognize him anymore despite their time together. For as you would know if you've been reading the Absolute books, the Legion of Superheroes now serve a new master as the Legion of Darkseid. And well, you don't gotta tell Superman twice that that's a problem. Saturn Girl is only the beginning of his problems too, as out in space, Cosmic Boy and Lightning Lad use their powers to attack the Watchtower directly. In fact, they end up crushing the entire building as if it was a flimsy tin can. The implication being that several high-profile Leaguers died, including Mr. Terrific himself. Geez, I guess not even being in a new movie can save ya, huh? By the time Superman gets there to try and settle the score, he learns from Cosmic Boy that this is only the beginning, that the Legion of Darkseid has come here to break him down and ready the way for Darkseid's return. In fact, attacking the Watchtower was also a false flag operation, as the next part of their plan is already taking place on Earth. Lightning Lad has already jetted his way back down to Earth in Smallville with intentions of making Pa Kent a widow, which is exactly what he does. Jeez, that took a dark turn. Don't worry though, it's ultimately revealed that this is actually one giant psychic trap set by Saturn Girl. She's been screwing with Clark's head this whole time in an attempt to try and break down his psychic barriers and get into his mind, which is basically what she ends up doing. The two end up taking a walking tour of Superman's long history, including the time he trained with the Legion, all of which is actually new to this darker, twisted version of Saturn Girl. In fact, she can't ever imagine any of this coming to pass at all, for she says where she was born, Darkseid reigns supreme. He is the beginning and the end. Darkseid merely is. But more importantly than that, Darkseid is coming to settle his score with the Justice League, and he fears that Superman, as is often the case, is the only one who can actually stop him. In fact, Saturn Girl wasn't even supposed to attack Superman directly. She was only actually supposed to scout the way, and once Darkseid realizes what's going on, he's mighty pissed, so much to the point that Time Trapper Doomsday is once again able to swoop on in and make the save. This guy had been tortured by the Legion of Darkseid, and ever since has decided to focus himself on trying to save the timeline at any cost. As Trapper tells Doomsday, he actually has a secret weapon that he thinks will allow them to turn the tide against their shared foes, but to get it, they're going to have to visit a pocket version of Metropolis, a little universe that Time Trapper created and squared away for a rainy day. What is this weapon? Well, it's not really a thing so much as it is a guy. Well, honestly, more of a boy. Superboy Prime. Yes, that's right. I literally said when I got to this page, oh no, he's back. For those who don't know, Superboy Prime is a Superman from an Earth that was very similar to the one we live on. Only instead of growing up to be pure of heart and selfless and kind, everything the mainline Superman is, this kid ended up growing up to be whiny, self-centered, and entitled, basically comic writers' reads on the worst parts of comic book fandom. Jeff Johns had actually given this guy a happy ending a couple events ago, but he's back now as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Superman issue number 28, everybody, and if you couldn't tell, Joshua Williamson really did end up pulling out all the stops for this brand new arc, which will eventually lead us to this year's next big event, which will see the main DC Earth end up crossing over with what's going on in the brand new Absolute universe, as well as the return of Darkseid. And yeah, at this point, all I gotta say is so far so good. Again, we get these big world-ending DC events all the time, but I really appreciate where this is all spinning out of, as well as the characters who are getting the focus this time around. I've been on record before saying that I'm not exactly the biggest Legion of Superheroes fans. Oh, I respect their history and I respect them in theory. I just never really found a run that grabbed me and made me a fan. That being said, I can tell Williamson and basically everyone else who's writing the Superman family of books right now are huge Legion fans. And the idea to have them come back into continuity in such a big way and be so important to Superman's most formative years, then to turn around and have them be the big villainous force that needs to be overcome is actually kind of genius. On one hand, it reflects how history is being corrupted due to all the excess Omega energy, but also basically having them turn heel and be reminded that there's more of them than there even is on the bigger Justice League Unlimited right now is actually a pretty solid threat. It's almost like when a good wrestler turns heel, and will probably end up meaning that they're going to be in a better place when they turn back. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if they get a brand new ongoing series off the back of this. Then, of course, we have the return of Superboy Prime, which is the thing everyone has been talking about this week, and with good reason. The character has always been a lightning rod for fans. I don't think I can explain how much people hated this character when he was new, but then as enough time went on, eventually people started to like him ironically, and of course anything you do ironically long enough eventually starts getting done earnestly. And if I would trust anyone to have a new, fresh idea and new direction for the character, it's certainly Joshua Williamson. He hasn't steered us wrong yet, and this Superman book hasn't steered me wrong yet, which is why I give it a very well-deserved 8.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.